up, guys? Homegrown Big coming at you again. Been a little while, been super crazy busy at work, but just got done with a super awesome workout. I'm fasted. It's been maybe 12 hours. I'm gonna break my fast with an apple and 2 big scoops of organic almond butter. And this is gonna be a great way to break my fast, and then we're gonna have some food later, but I've got a lot of work to do yet in the food forest, so I want to get a little bit of fuel running through me so that I can have good energy out in the food forest. Let's take a look at what I'm doing out here. Here we have loads of greens, already been harvesting and eating fresh greens, tons. I got a little basil started there, some peppers, flowers, edible flowers, more peppers started, collards, yep, heirloom tomatoes started, some sort of seeds popping up from compost that didn't get fully inoculated. More tomatoes. These are all heirlooms. Baby pawpaw. This is a member of the Salicaceae family. I forget the name in English, but it's an evergreen, and the flowers, when it blooms, smell like chocolate, and it shimmies in the wind and looks really cool. So this is just an ornamental. I've got a member of the orange family here. It's pretty beautiful flowers. I have a few species in the orange family here for ornamentals because they smell so nice. So just getting these guys robust before I get them into the forest. Coming over here, we put in these new little short beds and added on to the beds. We want a lot more beds. I've got curry here, basil, a pepper plant that the deer munched, more pepper, and this is some Vietnamese herb for cooking. I thought it was a cool looking plant, but it also tastes good. Coming into early green harvest, as you can see, this is broccoli. I've already been harvesting quite a bit here. This will come out soon, and I'll put some eggplants in. I've got more kale over there, onions, more broccoli. Oh, see there, this is Chinese broccoli, so it's supposed to be long like that. Bok choy, which I've trimmed and it's growing back. More onions. I got a little purple cabbage started there. More purple cabbage. I use the purple cabbage because the slugs don't eat it as much as the green cabbage. So here's another tomato that got munched by the deer. Pretty interesting. This is the first year the deer have been eating my tomatoes. Peas, lots of peas. More purple cabbage, more peas back there. Beans started, so this whole thing will be covered shortly in beans. They're just getting rolling though, really. More cabbage, more onions, more peas back there. More tomatoes, squashes. Another tomato that got nailed by the deer. I'm gonna have to fence things in. More onions. This one's going to seed. I put that in the fall, so I'll do a little seed collection there for next year. Squash, potatoes, more tomatoes, potatoes. Here's a bunch of strawberries, also getting nailed by the deer. They found their Shangri-La here, but that's okay. Things are doing fine. Here's a persimmon. This thing is these little blooms there. Very difficult to see. But this thing is going to be loaded with fruit this season. It's going to be a bumper crop. It didn't fruit last year. It's the kind of tree, those are all going to be fruit. Kind of tree that goes every other year, so it's going to be really nice. Let's take a look down here. This is a goji berry. A little birdhouse in there. Birds love this goji berry because the cats can't get up there. Raspberries galore. There's going to be so many berries. What we got over here, this is a pawpaw. This is a small pawpaw. That's in bloom. Look at that beautiful bloom. Smells like rotting flesh. These are pollinated here by flies. They originally evolved to be pollinated by wood beetles, as far as we know. Here's another species of orange. This smells so good. This is Choisya ternata. There's another orange species, not doing as well there. All herbs in here. All kinds of oregano, tarragon, thyme. This is a flowering currant. I put this in here because the hummingbirds love it. Here's an American persimmon, which was really slow for the first couple of years, and now it's starting to take off. This thing's gonna get huge. I can't wait to see it go. We got here, bananas are growing. Potatoes, more potatoes. That whole thing is filled. Over here on this, I've got some beans. So that's a bean runner there. This flowering white, that's horseradish. Over here, we've got another pawpaw, and this is the first year. These pawpaws, when I got them, were just so tiny. It's flowering like crazy, and I'm pretty sure that that one is pollinated. Pretty sure that one's pollinated. And this one. So it looks like we're getting some pollination. I'll get my first pawpaw fruits this year. Here we have native huckleberries. These are heavily in bloom. We're gonna get a lot of fruit from that this year. Coming around the side here, this is all blueberries. So we got just loads and loads of blueberries. Gonna be big harvest of blueberries this year. That's an Asian pear. This thing struggled for a couple of years. The deer were really working it over, as you can see right here. Deer hitting that. But we have some baby fruit this year, so we're gonna get a taste of the Asian pears for the first time. And you know, kind of thing, I think a lot of people, this is all strawberries here. Boom. A lot of people fence in. This is another pawpaw. This is a baby. I had to put a net over it last year just to get it going. Here we have more blueberries. Here we have gumi. Gumi puts nitrogen back in the system. So these are really nice. I have a couple of these scattered about the forest. Oh, these are really beautiful horseradish flowers. Here we have the peas and beans. Over here I've got a brown Turkish fig. This thing's doing really well. Gonna have some nice fruit this year. This is my Atriano fig. And this brown house here is a microclimate. It normally on a hot sunny day just cooks over here. So I put the figs here to help them fruit better, and they'll do well in a microclimate here in Washington. This is an Atriano fig. It's got that nice raspberry jam fruit. It's pretty loaded with fruit this year. I'm excited. It's really taking off. Here we have more gumi, and here's some peonies, some nice flowers. Just give you a little perspective. Here you can see dahlias coming up. You can eat the tubers of dahlias. We're just getting them going here. This is a hazelnut nut tree for some healthy fats. Rosemary herbs. This is a big cherry tree that I planted as a stick in the ground. Gonna get some nice crops out of that this year. Sea berries. These will put nitrogen in your system too. They don't prefer the heavy wet weather here. They get used to it, but it takes them a little while to get going. Alright, so I've got a couple more sea berries there, a couple varieties with the male. Here's some Chilean guava. This is another persimmon variety. This thing's finally taking off. Come down this little path. This is all dahlias planted in here. We have, you know, black currants snuck here and there. There's another hazelnut tree. More currants here. That That's a little olive tree there. It's actually starting to come into flower. It did fruit last year, but not enough for me to really cure anything. See that little flower there? That'll pop open. It was a little cranky with the wet spring, but it'll bounce back. Here we have some sunchokes. That's a native species. You can eat the tubers. There's some nice irises. Beautiful. Another cherry tree here, different variety. I've got black, Rainier, red, 4 varieties of cherry here. Here's another persimmon. This is all herbs, medicinals, wildflowers. Coming over here, we've got more sunchoke, more currant. Some beautiful lupins coming in there. Some more lupins there, some more black currants. That's gonna be just kind of loaded this year. Here I have a beautiful mulberry tree that's just getting going. It's starting to get tall, but you can see, oh yeah, it's got fruit right there. It's gonna be a nice season. Baby weeping mulberry, and if you've never seen these grown, they're so beautiful. So this is kind of an ornamental, but it does fruit, and the fruit from it are actually really good. You can see the fruit right here. This back here I'm super excited about. This is an Italian stone pine. If you've never seen one of these large and grown, Google Italian stone pine and take a look. I grew this from just a little tiny thing down here, and you can see it's starting to drop these now. I need to trim them because it's shooting up. But this is a type of temperate pine that will produce a very delicious edible pine nut. So I've got one here. These are camellias. They're in the tea family. You can actually make green tea, oolong tea out of this family. And I've got another stone pine here. So this one, these are getting quite big. It'll be a couple more years before they start making cones, but it's doing really well over here. I'll show you this back trail. I haven't finished developing over here, but I really like this area of the food forest. It's very cool and pretty. I have native Washington hazelnut growing here. I gotta transplant this to someplace better, but this is gonna be a nice hazelnut producer. Here we have 4 varieties of grapes growing. I got these just little tiny sticks, so I'm getting them started here for a couple of seasons, and then I will transplant them up to their final place. 2 varieties for table grapes and 2 for fermenting. Here I have a Honeycrisp apple. This actually came from my research that I did. And here's another cherry. So you can see I had these trimmed all the way down to the root ball, and I will have to train leaders out of them. They've been getting hit by the deer, but it's okay, just a little bit. I've found through experimentation that when you have small, weaker plants, that getting them started in pots tends to work out better. So I've had a lot of nursery work here in the food forest. More persimmon. Fennel's starting to take off. I'm excited to eat some fresh fennel in salads, and I like juicing it. I'm just a fan of fennel. Another persimmon here. Here we have a couple more baby Desert King figs. You can see it's fruiting, and I'm actually going to weave an archway. I'm going to do a little bit of horticulture trick and get them to fuse together and make a fig archway here, which will look really cool. But they need about another year of growing before I can do that. Here's the arbor we built with kiwis. I got these started in a front bed where it was more sun and then transplanted them over the winter. And I'm trying to find a spot, but they are going to fruit this year. I've got some baby fruits on them. I'll do some updates. I'll show you. But once this gets filled up here, this is going to be really great. Here's where we have, you know, all of our garden stuff stored. And, you know, tools in the shed. And then we have this awesome